it and going, and I knew them. I knew who they were. I knew the type of groups that they were. And in our case, we wanted to make it through the church. We wanted to be totally related to the church, which was very hard to do. So to Cardinal Ortega, Luisa and I were in Washington one day, and we lived there, and Ortega was going to town, and someone called me from the church and said, we've been asked to get a group of people, the Cubans, to come and meet Cardinal Ortega, and you organize it. So I immediately called, 20, 30 friends, and I said, anyone want to come? And I said, bring $50 if you come. So Maria Luisa and I organized it, and we went. When we got there and we were being greeted by the Cardinal, I said, I am Manela Suarez. And then Maria Luisa right behind me said, and I'm Maria Luisa Gaston, her cousin. And he said, Gaston. He said, La tía Gaston? And I froze and I said, wow, yes, La tía Gaston. And he said, I owe them my priesthood. Because I was only 13 or 14 when I went to the seminary. And the tias had just decided to help the church by starting a pre-seminary in Matanzas, so that those of us in Matanzas who wanted to be trained in the seminary did not have to go to Havana. And so he said, so I entered that house, or that small seminary, and that's how I got to know the tias. And he said they often visited us, they brought us all kinds of goodies, and they were just the most lovely women I've ever known, he said. So with that, he sort of opened the door for me to say, and then he said, and speaking of the Ingenio Dolores and the Tia Gaston, he said, Bishop of Matanzas in those days, whose name I don't remember right now, has asked the government for permission to open the church again. The Church of Dolores that was built by your uncle, Eugenio Batista. He knew it all. He knew the names, he knew the family, he knew. And I was so excited to hear him say that. And Maria Luisa too, we both were jumping for joy to hear that the church in Dolores was going to reopen. So he said, is there any chance that the family would be interested in helping us? And Maria Luisa and I said, we are sure that we will help. And so it so happened that was the first time I think that the family got together, and we brought the idea to the family if anybody wanted to contribute. And I don't remember the exact amount, but something like $5,000 was raised at the family reunion for rebuilding the church. So then from then on I was in close contact with the Cardinal, and I asked him, how else can we help? We want to help the church in Cuba. We Catholic, Cuban American, would like to, since we cannot help any other way, the church. And at first he was hesitant. He said, anything coming from the United States is immediately seen as something to worry about by the government. So it would be very difficult to do. And I said, no, I don't think it's difficult. I mean, give us the opportunity to. So anyway, for a couple of years, I wrote to him and I talked to him on the phone, and I kept saying, let us do something, let us do something, let us start. And finally one day I wrote him a handwritten note with the priest I was going to see him. And in the note I had said, we're waiting for the okay to start something. Eduardo Escalada and I will start an NGO, and we will do whatever we need to do to help the church. And he said, he didn't answer. And so about 2 months after I wrote the note, he was outside of Cuba with Bishop Juan de Dios. He was a very close friend of mine. And Juan de Dios calls me and he said, hi, and then he said, I have someone here who wants to talk to you, but he wasn't in Colombia. And I said, in Colombia, who wants to talk to me? And he said, oh, wait. So he puts the Cardinal on, and he said, Manela, sí. And I said, sí. I said, and that's what he said, sí. He passed the phone back to Juan de Dios, and I said, what the hell does it mean by sí? And I said, is he responding to my note? And Juan de Dios said, I think so. So I said, okay, I'll take it as a go. So I immediately called Eduardo and I said, I think I got to go from the Cardinal. So let's go ahead and form the NGO and see how we can start. So I started going to Cuba on my own. It had nothing to do with the NGO. So I kept going back every year and getting more and more involved in to do the church. By this time, I had so many contacts from people within the church, the laity and a number of priests, a number of nuns, and I saw that, the tremendous need that they have, because the Cubans themselves don't have any money, so they can't support the church as we do here. I don't know you, but all of us who belong to a parish, we sort of have an obligation to give so much of our whatever we can, but usually they expect a certain amount depending on your level. But in Cuba, people don't have the money to give. And an example of this is from one of the bishops in Cardinal some years back, where he said, I was with a group at his in the Rio, and I said to him, tell us about the church and the work you're doing. And he said, one of the things, he said, we really appreciate the support you guys are giving us, because we don't have, everything comes from outside of Cuba. The Cubans themselves do not support the church. They support it in ways that are not financial. They support it with the talent, with the time. We pay very little, salary-wise. I think the salary, as you know, is only like $20 a month, and for the most part, in some cases, a bit more. But that's it. And it's not enough to live on. So anyway, he said, when the priests go on vacation, so he said, I as the main person, I have to go and visit the parishes where they attend. And so he said, I went, just to give you an example, he said, I went this past Sunday to 7 churches in the area. And when I came back, I put the money of one of the churches. 2 of the churches gave nothing. He said, and he said, 2 gave me something. So on the one that gave me, I put it in one pocket, and on the other church, I put it in the other. So when I got to my house, I gave the secretary, I said, here's the money from whatever. And she laughed. She said, you consider that a donation? And he said, yes, that's all they could give. And it's a very strong donation from the people of that little town that I visited in the outskirts of Pinar. And he said, and the same with the other was just like pennies and monedas. And he said, so the church cannot live off this, unfortunately. And he said, we're all struggling to offer support, to offer programs, to support. So then that's when Eduardo and I decided that the NGO would be, the mission is to help the children and the youth of Cuba. So we don't worry about the elders who are also struggling with needs for food and for care. So we're totally dedicated to children and to youth. And so we have been supporting, this past year we supported 14 such programs. And so we continue to raise funds, and it's hard to raise money. We have a big event every year, and hope that this year Gracie came to it, and of course my sisters and my immediate family members always support the NGO. But it's hard. It's mostly, the support comes mostly from Cuban Americans and Catholic Cuban Americans. Every now and then we get surprises from people that we don't know, but on the website that we donate as little as $5, but we always wonder why, who are they? And they come from all parts of the world, so I guess these people that look for support to Cuba, which is great.
Tell if people wanted to support, how could they do that?
So you can go to the website and
it's called?
I'll send it in the group chat.
It's Puentes, Amistad. And so we have